I co-signed my brother's loan to save our family. He ruined my life. Hey, before we move on to the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I've always been the responsible one in the family. The planner, the saver, the one who shows up on time, calls our parents every Sunday, and gets things done. I'm the oldest of three, and for as long as I can remember, it's felt like my job to keep everything from falling apart because no one else will. Especially not my younger brother, Josh. Josh has always been the golden child. Charming, funny, good-looking, and perpetually getting himself into messes that someone else has to clean up. He flunked out of college twice, bounced from job to job, and spent a few years couch surfing under the guise of finding himself. But through it all, our parents never stopped praising him. He just needs time. He's got a good heart. He's a dreamer, not a doer. Meanwhile, I was working 2 jobs to pay off student loans and still got asked to chip in when Josh needed help with rent. It was always framed as temporary. Just a little boost. You're the one who's doing well. He's struggling. It wasn't just money. It was emotional labor. I was expected to be the understanding one, the flexible one, the one who forgave and forgot and helped, no matter what. 2 years ago, Josh decided he wanted to open a specialty coffee shop/art gallery in our hometown. He had no business plan, no real experience, and no savings. But he had an idea, and that, apparently, was enough. My parents called me one night for a family talk. We don't have those often, so I knew it wasn't good. They explained that Josh had found a small storefront for lease, had a friend who could help with renovations, and was really excited to build something. The only issue was the bank wouldn't approve him for a business loan, not without a cosigner. Guess who had the credit score, stable income, and low debt-to-income ratio? Me. I laughed at first. I actually thought it was a joke. I said, "You're kidding, right?" But they weren't. My dad told me it would mean the world to Josh. My mom got emotional, said she was worried about Josh's mental health, that he finally seemed hopeful again. They told me I was the only one who could do this. I said no, immediately, flat out, but that didn't go over well. My mom got quiet and sad. My dad got defensive. They said I was being selfish, that I didn't believe in family, that I was holding Josh's past mistakes over his head. "You've got your life together," my dad said. "You could really help him get on his feet." I still said no. For 3 weeks, I held my ground. Then Josh called me himself. He told me this was his dream, that he'd been sober for a year, which I didn't even know had been an issue, that he was finally serious about something. He said if I didn't believe in him, no one would. "I just need someone to believe I'm not a screw-up," he said. I don't know what did it, the guilt, the pressure, the exhaustion from always being the bad guy, but I caved. I told myself I'd set boundaries, that I'd make him sign a contract, that I'd keep an eye on the payments, that it was just a signature, not actual money. So I went with him to the bank, sat in the little glass-walled office, and signed the papers. $85,000. That was the amount, enough to cover the lease, the renovations, the equipment, and a few months of operating costs. He beamed. My parents thanked me. They even took us out to dinner afterward to celebrate. And for a while, it looked like maybe it would work. Josh opened the cafe. It was cute, trendy even. Exposed brick, Edison bulbs, vinyl playing behind the counter. People came. Local artists hung their work. There were yoga nights, open mic events, little weekend markets. He even got featured in a young entrepreneur's article in the local paper. Every month, I checked in to make sure the payments were being made. They were, for the first 6 months at least. Then I got a missed call from the bank. I assumed it was a mistake, maybe a wrong number or some fraud alert. But when I called back, I got a polite woman on the phone who informed me that the business loan I had co-signed was now 60 days delinquent. I called Josh. No answer. I texted. Nothing. I called my parents. My mom said she was sure it was just a mix-up, that businesses take time to stabilize, and that Josh probably just forgot to tell me he was adjusting the payment schedule. My dad told me to stop panicking, but I wasn't panicking. I was seeing clearly for the first time. The next day, I walked into the cafe unannounced. The place was dead. One customer. One sleepy barista who didn't recognize me. Josh wasn't there. The barista said he hadn't been around much lately. I drove straight to my parents' house. I told them what I knew. The delinquent payments. The no-shows. The unanswered calls. They seemed surprised, but not shocked. My mom said maybe he was going through something. My dad said, we'll talk to him. I asked if they'd help cover the payments until he got back on track. Dead silence. Then my mom said it. We don't have that kind of money. So I asked, what happens when the loan defaults? Well, my credit tanks. When I get sued, my dad's answer? You knew what you were signing. That was when I realized they never thought he'd pay it back. They just assumed I'd be the safety net. Like always, I walked out of their house that night and didn't go back. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table, phone in one hand, loan documents in the other, heart pounding in my ears. I went through every payment statement, every email I had exchanged with the bank, every message from Josh. It was all there. My name, my credit, my future tethered to his mess. By the next morning, I had called the bank back and gotten the real numbers. Not only was the loan 60 days past due, but Josh had also missed 2 consecutive payments before that, which had only been barely covered by some temporary forbearance agreement they didn't even tell me about. The bank rep told me they had sent letters. Josh had marked my address as his mailing address, then switched it months ago to his place without telling me. So I was blind. I tried Josh again. Voicemail. I messaged him directly. I need to speak with you. Now, this isn't a joke. He left me on read. Later that night, I saw a new post on his Instagram. Weekend vibes. Hashtag grind never stops. Hashtag blessed. He was poolside in Vegas, laughing, drink in hand, surrounded by a bunch of people I didn't recognize. Apparently, the cafe had closed for renovations temporarily. He didn't tell anyone, just locked the doors and vanished. That was the first time I felt something worse than anger, humiliation. I had put my name, my credit, my life on the line for him, and he wasn't even hiding it. He wasn't stressed. He wasn't sorry. He was bragging. I sent the post to my parents in a group message. No reply for hours. Then my mom texted back. Don't jump to conclusions. Maybe it's an old photo. Old photo? With this weekend's date in the caption? My dad followed up with, we told you not to freak out. It's not the end of the world. That's when it finally clicked. They knew. Or, at the very least, they didn't care. Not the way I thought they would. Not enough to do anything. I stopped contacting them after that. A few weeks later, the loan officially defaulted. The full balance, $79,300 and change, was accelerated, and I was now liable for the entire thing. My credit score plummeted almost 200 points. The collections agency started calling me every day, sometimes 5, 6 times. At work, at home, on weekends. I was working for a mid-sized marketing firm at the time and had recently applied for an internal promotion. I was told I was a strong candidate, practically guaranteed. I didn't even consider that my credit report would be an issue until HR pulled it for the final hiring process. They flagged the loan default. Even though the debt wasn't technically mine, my name was on it. That was all they needed. I didn't get the promotion. Worse, I found out I wouldn't be considered for any financial-facing or client account roles at the company unless I could show a stable credit record again. My manager was sympathetic, said she'd vouch for me in future interviews, but rules were rules. Just like that, my career hit a wall. In the months that followed, I scrambled. I tried to negotiate with the collections agency, tried to get a hardship plan, but every payment plan felt impossible while still paying my own rent, bills, car, food. I had to cancel a planned trip with friends, stopped contributing to my savings, moved into a smaller place with a roommate I found online. I sold my car and took the bus for over a year. Every dollar went to cleaning up Josh's mess. Josh, meanwhile, had fully disappeared. He never reached out, never apologized. He even blocked me on social media. I only heard about him through whispers, from mutual friends, old classmates, even a few former cafe customers. Apparently, the shop was officially closed. He owed several months' rent on the space. Equipment was repossessed. Rumor had it he had moved in with some woman he met during a spiritual retreat and was focusing on his art. And my parents? They went full head in the sand mode. No calls, no updates. When I reached out once, just to ask if they had spoken to Josh, my dad replied with, "You're always looking for someone to blame." That was the last straw. I stopped speaking to any of them. Birthdays passed. Holidays came and went. I got quiet. Hope you're well. texts from my mom a couple of times, but never anything that resembled an apology. Just awkward, sanitized words like, "I hope things are smoothing out." Smoothing out? I was scraping together payments every month just to keep from being sued. I took on a part-time remote gig writing content for an online blog, on top of my full-time job. I started skipping meals, stopped going out, and felt my entire social life evaporate because I couldn't afford to do anything. And through it all, I kept hearing that I was being too dramatic, that I should let it go, that family is more important than money. Tell that to the bank. Tell that to the promotion I lost. Tell that to the $80,000 anchor around my neck that no one even tried to help carry. I was drowning, and the people who were supposed to love me the most were standing on the shore, arguing over whether I should be mad. I used to think that hitting rock bottom would look dramatic, eviction notices, repo trucks, tearful meltdowns. But for me, it was quiet. It was waking up exhausted every day in a cramped, barely affordable apartment, eating instant noodles 4 nights a week, and checking my bank account with a knot in my stomach. It was silence from my family, silence from Josh, and the deafening noise of my own shame. But something strange happened in that silence. I got angry. Not wild, vengeful angry. Not first, but cold, focused, sharp. I stopped wasting time hoping they would make things right. I stopped arguing with collectors and started playing smart. I got serious about freelancing. I worked after work, weekends, holidays, writing copy, editing resumes, even ghostwriting blog posts and ebooks for people I'd never meet. I lived like a monk. Every bonus, every freelance payment, every bit of found money went straight to that loan. And slowly, agonizingly, I started chipping it down. It took almost 3 years, but I did it. I paid off the entire balance. I rebuilt my credit, not back to where it was, but enough. I started applying for new roles and finally landed one with a fully remote company based out of another state. It paid more. The people were better. I didn't tell anyone in my family about it. I bought myself a used car. Then I started saving again. I didn't post about it, didn't show it off, just kept building in peace. Around that time, a mutual friend from high school messaged me out of nowhere. "Hey, just wanted you to know, your brother's back in town. You probably already knew, but thought I'd give you a heads up." I didn't. Apparently, Josh's art journey didn't work out. He had split with the woman he moved in with. His credit was trashed. He was couch hopping again, and the word was he was thinking of moving back home. I didn't respond. Then, like clockwork, came the text from my mom. "Hey, sweetie, hope you're well. Your brother's been going through a hard time. We're trying to help, but it's tough. Any chance you could lend a little to help him get back on his feet? Even a few hundred would help." It took me 3 hours to decide what to say. Not because I was torn, but because I wanted to be careful. Here's what I sent. I helped. I gave more than I ever should have. I lost years of my life cleaning up the mess he left behind. Mess you both encouraged and excused. And you never even said sorry. I've rebuilt everything alone. I owe him, and you nothing. She didn't reply for a day. When she did, it was a paragraph-long guilt trip. We're all human. We make mistakes. He's your brother. Blood is blood. I don't know what happened to the sweet, forgiving son I raised. I didn't reply at all. A week later, my dad texted me, blunt cold. "So that's it? You're just going to abandon your family over some money?" I finally let myself laugh. Out loud. Alone in my apartment. Because after everything, he still didn't get it. It was never just money. It was trust. Loyalty. The way they used me, then discarded me. The way they protected Josh at all costs and treated me like a wallet with legs. The way they expected me to clean up his wreckage and smile while doing it. That was the last message I ever got from either of them. It's been over a year now. I've moved states, same job, better apartment, new friends. I took a trip to Italy last fall. I'm learning to cook. I've even started dating again, something I couldn't even think about during the worst of it. And sometimes on quiet nights, I still feel that old bitterness creep in. But it doesn't stay long, because I remember they don't get to own any more of my time. They made their choices. I made mine. I chose myself. Last month, I got an invitation to a wedding. A cousin I hadn't seen in years. I almost didn't go. I figured my parents would be there. Maybe even Josh. But something told me I needed to. Not for them. For me. So I went. I walked in wearing a suit I had paid for in full, drove a car registered in my name, and gave a generous gift in cash. All from the money I had earned on my own. I was greeted by some extended family members with hugs, surprised smiles, the usual, "We haven't seen you in forever" lines. Nobody mentioned what happened, but a few people gave me these long, knowing looks, the kind that say "we heard." Then I saw them, my parents, sitting stiffly at a table near the back, not talking to anyone. My mother looked older, tired. My dad glanced at me, then quickly looked away. Josh wasn't there. Later, someone told me he had tried to come, but wasn't invited. Apparently, he had burned too many bridges, and the bride didn't want the drama. He was living out of state now, doing odd jobs. Still broke. Still blaming everyone else. I didn't approach my parents. I didn't need to. As I left the reception, one of my uncles pulled me aside. We'd never been close, but he looked me in the eye and said, "You did right by yourself." That takes guts. They might not say it, but people noticed. It was the smallest sentence, but hit harder than any apology I never got. For a long time, I thought closure had to come from the people who hurt you. An apology, a moment of reckoning, something. But I've learned that sometimes closure isn't something you're given. It's something you build, piece by piece, loan by loan, paycheck by paycheck, boundary by boundary. And when it's done, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You just walk away free. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.